A special shout out and thank you to Patricia Viramontes for sending me her wonderful formula. I will leave a link down below so you know where to purchase it. Thanks a lot, Patty. Hello everyone, it's Robin the Artsy Bohemian coming to you from my studio in Los Angeles, California. Today we're going to experiment and play, and it's going to be done mostly with Stainz by Patty Pockets. She reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to try it out, and I said sure. And so I thought, why not experiment with some different things? So you can see there's quite a few pieces on my tray here, and I'm going to show you first of all what the substrates are that I'm going to use. And before I start, I wanted to thank you all for your input last Tuesday. It was very helpful. I realized that lots of you don't just do paper crafting. You like all kinds of crafting. So that makes me feel good, because I feel like I need to stick with just journal type related projects, but that's not necessarily so. So with that said, you might be interested in looking at my online school. I have almost 10 classes now that are paper related and jewelry, and they can kind of like merge together, so that you might have a nice, you could probably see a nice mix of different types of crafts that you would be interested in. And I am I'm launching a bundle, a soldering bundle that I had talked to you about last Tuesday. It ends tonight at midnight Pacific Standard Time. I'll leave a link down below if you want to go check it out. It's an awesome deal. All right, so I want to play with some fabric. So this is mostly cotton. So this is cotton ticking. It's this really cool aqua color. I got it on Amazon. I've always seen the red and the blue, but I never saw this color. I took a little swatch of this really fine cheesecloth, some synthetic lace. It's kind of stretchy, and this is I'm assuming this is a mix of cotton and maybe some kind of synthetic fabric. It's an applique, so we're gonna play with that, and then a tag or two. A coffee stained coin envelope. I don't know if I'm going to use this or not, but this is something I had stamped on a long time ago. This is a very old envelope. It's already kind of old looking, so it'll be kind of fun to work with that. Everybody has this. You know what this is. This is just some Tim Holtz packaging. And then the back of a cracker or cereal box. So we're going to play with those things. We're going to use rubber stamps for some. Embossing powder. I'm going to use her method of painting. I'll leave her link down below. Her name's Patricia Viramontes, and she is the one who came up with Patty Pockets, and she has a great YouTube channel. I think a lot of you probably already know who she is. And she came up with this. It's kind of like having, from what I can tell, I actually haven't used it. This is like cold experimentation, first time seen. This is a first time only. It's like a concentrated stain, kind of like a coffee stain. So I'm gonna play with this ink pen too and dip it in and see how that works. I also put a little bit in a bottle to spray it, and I'm also gonna paint it like she does. So I think the first thing I'm gonna try is embossing. So those of you who have been in the rubber stamp world for a long time were probably introduced to rubber stamping by embossing powders. So those of you who don't know, it is a fine powder that you lay on top of some kind of wet medium, usually a pigment ink pad of a sort, or something called Versamark, which is a clear pigment pad. I'm going to be using a colored one because I want this to look, my idea for this was a printable that I saw, and I was like, wow, I wonder if I could do that with the Stainz by Patricia, and make it look like an antique, rusty card with patina on it. So I'm going to show you that first because I'm really excited. That's kind of what got me going on experimenting with different things. So we'll just start, maybe we'll do a couple. Maybe I'll do one. These are a little bit different color. Maybe I'll try it on the Tim Holtz recycled packaging. Yeah, the first time I knew about rubber stamps, I bought, I think the very first thing I ever even bought was embossing powder, and it was gold embossing powder. I think I saw somebody demonstrate how to use it at a rubber stamp convention, which used to be huge. In fact, I live real close to one of the original stamp conventions, and it was like magic. I was hooked when I saw it. So this might enthrall you if this is your first time seeing this. So I'm going to use a bold rubber stamp that has kind of a thick image on it. If you use something that's really fine, it kind of gets lost, especially since I'm going to be kind of roughing it up. So I don't know, one of these I might do a couple of them. These are by Stampin' Up. They're pretty big stamps. So I'll start out with this one. This is a dye. It's so old, I don't even know if it's going to work. I mean, a pigment ink. It's from Colorbox. We'll see. It might be a dud. And I'm going to make it kind of splotchy. It probably doesn't need any help because it's pretty old. And let's just kind of play around with this and see how it works. So the thing is you have to have your heat tool ready and your embossing powder, because once you take the substrate off of the ink, you have to immediately put the embossing powder on it. I mean, not immediately, but pretty quick. So I'm going to do it over this little handy container. And then my idea was, once I emboss it, I am going to put the stains on it. And then make it look old and decrepit. Ooh. So I'm going to let that just sit because I'm going to do another one. Might as well. So I'll try it on this color. Maybe I'll do a different look. Maybe I'll do this one. Let's see. Another thing, you guys, I had asked you about was whether you like real-time or sped up videos, and most every single one of you like the real-time, which made me happy. So think for us creatives, we like to see all of it. Not that I don't speed through some videos, but I usually always go back, and if I'm in the right mood, I will watch the whole thing. Okay, let's put this back, and we're going to heat it up with a heat tool and then dye it. So my lighting is a little off here. Let's see if I can. It's a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to heat this up. It's going to be loud, so you might want to turn down your volume. Oh, that didn't heat very well. Let's try that again. I'll be back because I don't want you to have to watch me to do this. Okay, so it's all done, and you can see that it's embossed on there now. So I'm going to take the Patty Pockets, and she suggests putting it in another container. I didn't even think about that before I started, so I'm just gonna dip my brush in there once, and I'll put this back first. And paint it on as she suggests. It's kind of thick. And once it dries, I'm going to add some more color to it with some stains, you know, just ink pads. So this one, obviously, it's already dark, so it's not going to make it that much darker. Just going to spread that on there. I'm going to just kind of play with the spray that I did. Oh, this isn't spraying the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to set these outside because it's warm outside and they should dry pretty quick. So it's kind of a nice, you know, a tea stain when you don't want something really, really dark. That's kind of what it's looking like to me. Okay, so now let's make coffee stains with a coffee cup. And I'm going to just kind of dribble this on here and pour this in here because it didn't work the way I wanted it to. My bottle didn't. So I'm going to take a coffee mug and do that thing like that. I'm going to let that dry. Let's stain some fabric. I'm just going to dip it in there. after all of these things have dried, I will show you what they look like. I'm kind of making this mottled looking, so it's not going to be all uniform, which I kind of like. That's the cheesecloth. This is the lace. With fabric, you have to make sure it soaks into the fibers, otherwise it just stays on top. So that, and then this one. Let's see if this makes a stencil. Oop. I'm going to set those all outside. And I'm going to do it on the fabric too. The ticking. Just going to cut a piece. And I'm going to set all of these outside to dry. Before I set it out to dry, I just thought I would play around with this pen. Act like I'm writing. Okay, now I'm just going to paint some of the recycled cardboard so I can make tags or pockets with it. And I really like the coffee cup look on there, so I'll probably add that to it. Kind of blending in. So I'll set that aside and let that dry. And let's see if this will get any darker with this. Maybe I'll do that with this one. Maybe I'll do a bigger one here. So I'll do some other tags while I'm here. It's convenient, that's for sure, having it this stain. making a little ghost figure here. Might be an interesting medium for sketching. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like when it's dry. Let that dry. Alright, so I'm going to play around with this tag. It's all dry, and it's a real nice pale dye on there. I did a little bit on the back too. So my thought was, and like I said, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I'm going to use some rust colors, some darker ink pads to play around with the color of the tag. So I'm going to start with the rust one and use a sponge. So that's pretty good. That's okay. Probably put this onto something. I don't like the way it looks on the back. So it's, you can see the embossing on there, and it gives it kind of a rustic look. Here's some of the cheesecloth that I had used the patty stains on, and it's also very light, so gives it kind of a, it's kind of convenient to have it instead of, you know, taking out your pot and heating up your water and dissolving the instant coffee into the pot. It's in a jar, so it's all ready to go for you. So then I like this a lot. This is really dark because I used her stain on, you know, a darker cardstock. So this will be fun to cut out and play with as well. So I'm going to do the same thing on the scrap here using the Rust Adirondack. These are by Ranger. I don't even know if these are still around, but I think they were pre-Tim Holtz. So let's do a little distressing on the edges here. Interesting. It's very shiny. I mean, I know the cardstock was kind of shiny, but it didn't really dull it, so probably going, what the heck is she doing? I'm just gonna make it look really distressed. This might be interesting pieces to add to a page if you wanted to. So I'm turning up the page with the sponge because the tear makes it easier to do that. And by holding it down like this and just keep pushing up against that piece that's torn, it rolls it. Kind of really cool. Some darker. I think what I'll do too is add some text on here with a rubber stamp, a black ink, and that might make a nice little piece for a page. Reminds me of something like an old map, like pieces you might find if you put it on a page. Could do like an old pirate map. And this would be kind of a cool place to put it too. Alright, so I kind of was messing around off camera, and the piece that I crumpled up and distressed and everything, I thought that I wanted to do something with it quickly, and so what I did was I cut out die cuts of butterflies. And this is kind of what I do. I will play around with different techniques, and they have no specific plan other than to use in future projects. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this, and when putting all these pieces together, they just might wind up staying in a box for a while, and you know, I'll use them for something. Something will come up and that'll work perfectly for it. So I grabbed the envelope that we did last Tuesday, and I thought, gosh, that looks kind of pretty together. There's these muted, earthier, bright colors that I had toned down, and they look good with the coffee stain that I use from Patty. So who knows, it could be something that turns into another multi-folded envelope book. And so I didn't glue anything down. I just thought that would open there. And then this is a bag. This is the stain that I used the stain on the applique. And I did some rubber stamping on here with black ink. And here's another butterfly. And I love how this came out with the stain. And then I embossed it. And then I embossed this one too. So this is, I love how this looks. When I was distressing something over here, I love that darkness there. So this also, who knows, I might just cut that out, or I might use it as a backing for, you know, a journal that flips open several different ways. Who knows? So that's kind of the process and fun of doing this type of thing, is not letting yourself get stuck because you have to make it for a particular project. Making it just for the fun of making it and just playing, especially in these times. We need to have some kind of release, and I say just play in your studio or your closet or wherever it is, your kitchen table that you work, and just start making some ephemera, and have a box of, you know, with a question mark on it, and one day it will eventually get used, I'm sure. The other thing I did was also I'm just really loving this coffee mug stain. I love that, and I took a another embossing folder with a spider web on it since it's Halloween time, and I like how she came out. I just scribbled her with the ink, the stain that Patty gave, and then these two. They seem to have some kind of a sheen to them, like a little metallic sheen, which is kind of cool. So obviously these will be used for, you know, to tuck into pockets. And here's another butterfly, and here's this tag that, it's okay. I mean, it wasn't like, this is something I've done before, and I was expecting it to turn out a little different, but I will definitely wind up using it at some point. Here's the fabric, and then the other swatches. So all of these will be used for something at some point, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I really appreciate all your sweet comments. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon, and hit the notification that says all notifications so that you won't miss anything every Tuesday when I post. And make sure you check out my online school for all things unconventional bohemian style. See you next video.